and welcome to Diabetes Connections in the News. I'm Stacey Sims, and these are the top diabetes stories and headlines of the past 7 days. As always, all sources are linked up at diabetes-connections.com. In the News is brought to you by T2D Exchange. T2D Exchange is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving outcomes for the entire T2D population. Our top story, another approach to beta cell encapsulation. There are a few methods being tested to protect the transplanted cells from the body's immune system. A new and promising one seems to be a biomaterial in the form of microgel beads. This study was in mice only, but after 3 months, the beta cells survived and maintained blood sugar levels with no rejection drugs needed. Interestingly, this study put the cells into the omentum, not the liver, as is apparently the usual spot. I never heard of the omentum. In case you haven't, it's a layer of tissue connecting the stomach with the other abdominal organs. It's non-vital, so it's safer if complications take place and they have to remove the microbeads for any reason. No word on when human trials might begin here. FDA approval for a new injection for type 2 diabetes called Mounjaro. It's made by Lilly. It's shown to lower blood sugar and can help patients lose weight. Existing medicines target a hormone called the glucagon-like peptide 1, and that's involved in control of blood sugar. But Mounjaro targets a second hormone, the glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide as well. It's the first medicine to target both. While not yet approved as an obesity treatment, it's performed very well in clinical trials for weight loss. One study showed it helped patients lose an average of 16 to 22% of their weight. That's on par with bariatric surgery. Big deal for Mannkind, the makers of Afrezza inhalable insulin. They're acquiring Zealand Pharma's wearable Vigo insulin delivery device. The Vigo is a patch pump that's meant for people with type 2. It delivers basal insulin at a set rate all day long and can give boluses only in increments of 2 units of insulin at a time, up to 36 units in 24 hours. The deal is expected to close by the end of the month. Young adults who were at risk of food insecurity had an increased incidence of diabetes 10 years later, according to this new study from Washington State University. Other research has associated food insecurity with a range of health issues. This study shows a connection over time, though, which could indicate a causal relationship. The investigators couldn't identify the exact reason for the connection. Other research has shown that food insecure households often have diets with lower nutritional values. This study did not indicate differences among ethnicities or races, but they also said that the number of minorities in the sample could be too low to show a pattern. The investigators do plan to evaluate food insecurity risk and health issues with American Indian and Alaska Native and American Indian populations, which they say are often left out of annual reports like this. Beyond Type 1 has a new mental health portal announced as part of this Mental Health Awareness Month. The global nonprofit is partnering with BetterHelp to provide affordable mental health resources and services to its online community, with 2 weeks of free professional online therapy. Beyond Type 1 will continue to expand the resources available on the site. It's not just for this month. Another entry into the quest to find a non-invasive way to monitor glucose. Movano Inc. reports they have, quote, successfully validated the functionality of its proprietary and patented system on a chip. They say this is designed specifically for blood pressure or glucose monitoring systems. It's very early here. They are also creating a prototype to use in clinical studies, but this tech got them a new patent. We are keeping an eye on these non-invasive devices. It remains to be seen if any will ultimately be accurate enough to use to dose insulin. Right back to the news in just a moment, but first, let me tell you about one of our sponsors, the T2D Exchange. And the T2D Exchange Registry is an online research study designed to harness the power of individuals with type 1 diabetes. It's a research study conducted online over time, designed to foster innovation and improve the lives of people with T2D. Your personal information remains confidential. Participation is fully voluntary. Once enrolled, you will complete annual surveys and have the opportunity to sign up for other studies on specific topics related to T2D. By sharing opinions, experiences, and data, patients can help advance meaningful T2D treatment, care, and policy. Sign up at t1dexchange.org/Stacey. That's t1dexchange.org/STACEY. Back to the news now. Big candy recall. So heads up if you use any of these for Lowe's. It includes specific varieties of Skittles gummies, Starburst gummies, and Lifesaver gummies due to the potential presence of a very thin metal strand embedded in the gummies or loose in the bag. No illness or injuries have been reported, and I will link up specific lot and manufacturer information. And finally, a college fashion design major has a unique senior project. Naomi Kinnaman spent her senior year working on a collection titled Type 1 of a Kind. This series draws on her experiences as a woman with Type 1 who struggles to find clothing that fits comfortably with her insulin pump. She's lived with Type 1 since 6th grade and says the most difficult clothing to find, dresses and jumpsuits, so she designed her own. Kinnaman showed off her designs at SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, and I will also link that up in the show notes. On this week's long-format episode, you will hear about the latest on the islet bionic pancreas. They have submitted to the FDA, so we now wait to see whether this very different system gets approved. This is not the dual hormone islet that we've talked about for years. That is still in the works. This will not have insulin and glucagon. As submitted, it is insulin only, but it still has some very interesting other features. And next week, you will hear from Mike Joyce. He is set to complete an incredible long-distance hiking trip. It is actually 3 trails. This is the longest you can do in the U.S., and he will talk about how he does all this with Type 1. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts. And that is in the news for this week. If you like it, please share it. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you back here soon.
Diabetes Connections is a production of Stacey Sims Media. All rights reserved, all wrongs avenged.